Frank Hovers, world famous flying junkies, and today's mission is to travel back to 1989. Let's do this, people. 1989 arguably marks the greatest decade ever, the naughty 90s. In order to tackle this topic, I've gathered a list of the greatest people, places, and things of 89. It only feels right to start with 89 as it marks the beginning of an era filled with Dep Gel and Oshkosh Bagosh overalls. I'm talking Doc Martens, Timberlands, and Skechers. Fun fact, the Reebok pump was introduced in 1989.
The key is the pump.
I'm able to pump myself up.
Remember those? They were big, bulky, very expensive, and I couldn't afford them. So my parents got me Patrick Ewing's instead.
Introducing the Patrick Ewing Collection.
1989 also brought us some of the greatest TV shows of all time, like The American Gladiators, an obstacle-based show that pits superhumans against everyday plebeians.
Get ready to take on the toughest competition you've ever faced. American Gladiators.
Other shows of the day included Saved by the Bell, a show about Chads and 305s making their way through the gritty California school system. Man, let me tell you, I crushed so hard on those girls. Yo, Tiffany, call me.
Everybody party! We spoke too soon.
Family Matters would also hit the airwaves with the infamous Steve Urkel stealing the show as the hypersensitive nerd with a penchant for love.
You love me, don't you?
It's the Arsenio Hall Show! Ah, yes. Riding off the success of Coming to America the movie, we see Arsenio transition from movie to TV with a late-night talk show. Notable guests include former President Bill Clinton, rapper Vanilla Ice, and Mike Tyson, to name a few. I personally love the show myself because it brought this hip-hop edge to late-night television. It was one of the first places you could see artists crossing over from the underground into the mainstream and it being accepted by average everyday society. And if you get a chance, check out the last episode. He brings on every notable rapper of the day to send the show off. This was a monumental moment in hip-hop history that included groups like Naughty by Nature, A Tribe Called Quest, and MC Lyte, to name a few.
That's Jazzy Jeff. Y'all know him, right? He's here all night with us. What's up, Jeff? What's up, man? Jeff, show him how funky it's gonna be up in here tonight.
Speaking of hip-hop, 1989 would mark the second year for Yo MTV Raps, which started as an experiment and became a cultural icon. Created by Fab Five Freddy and hosted by Dr. Dre and Ed Lover, this streetwise show would spill from the studio onto the sidewalk, often including walking interviews of your favorite rappers and high-energy in-studio performances.
This is Cool Mo D, and it's Saturday. That means it's time for Yo MTV Raps.
The set was dope. They incorporated a industrial-like atmosphere, sort of a club-like vibe with hints of sports and graffiti, super high-energy stuff. Amazing. The Yo MTV Raps logo was iconic to me. It was a work of art. One could argue way more powerful and much more popular than the actual MTV logo itself. Speaking of art, the surrealist painter Salvador Dali passed away in 1989. Mel Blanc, the voice of Bugs Bunny, Speedy Gonzales, Porky Pig, Daffy Duck, and the Flintstone passed away, and George Bush becomes the 41st President of the United States. A funeral in its own right. I mentioned the Reebok pump earlier, so let's go over some of the fashion of the era. 1989 would mark the creation of the anti-gang clothing line Cross Colors. Cross Colors was founded in Los Angeles, California, and believe it or not, is still operational till this day. Who remembers the Baja hoodie? Jenko jeans, all of these guys would make their way onto the scene along with Oshkosh Bagosh overalls.
Because.
And who could forget the iconic starter jacket?
Check this out.
Some of you may remember the legendary clothing store 555 Soul, or maybe you were a mall rat and shopped at Chess King and Merry-Go-Round. Hammer time. Who remembers the genie pants? Remember the hammer pants? We used to call them Italian styles. They were made famous by groups like MC Hammer, Troop. I'll never forget it. I begged my parents high and low to buy me a pair. The Nintendo Game Boy was released in 1989. Along with the Sega Genesis, this brought on the slow death of the arcade as consoles and computers would infiltrate the American home, and internet services like America Online would make their way onto the scene and into the hearts of computer lovers nationwide.
You've got mail.
Wow, that's really neat, but how can we get the internet on our computer at home?
Well, to get started, you'll need to get connected to the internet. You do that through an internet service provider.
An internet service provider? What's that?
So there you have it, 1989 in a nutshell. What were you doing in 1989? Leave me a comment below. I'm always curious as to what you guys think. Let me know if this content was helpful. Hit the like button, thumbs up, subscribe, all that good shit. I'm your boy Frankie Hovers of the world famous Flying Junkies, and I'm out of here, people. Peace.